All right, so I think we can get started now.
All right. Yes,
Yep,
we are
sure.
live. All right. Welcome everybody to today's GIRA online session. We have in this session using cognitive services to classify your content with Smita Nachan and Nandeep Nachan. Without any further ado, we'll turn it over to the both of you. Thank you very much for providing a session today.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for this opportunity and thank you for this warm welcome. So, hello all. Good morning or good evening, and welcome to sixth edition of GIRA Online Speakers LATAM. And we are here to showcase our work or showcase our presentation onto using cognitive services to classify your content. So whenever we are dealing with most of the content in our day-to-day life, so that content could be just an image, it could be any of the file, or even it could be just a sentences. So those sentences can be maybe onto the Yammer, maybe onto the Microsoft Teams channel, everywhere. So we deal with lots of content, and then definitely we don't have time to go over each of the content and then try to analyze them, because we have a huge content which goes inside Office 365 or even in general. So whenever we have this kind of an content, obviously cognitive services will help us to classify that content. And then in this demo packed kind of a session, we are going to show you how we'll be able to use all of those cognitive services, or at least AI capabilities from Microsoft Azure, to classify your content, which is probably gets stored into a SharePoint. So this session will be presented by me, Nandarip Nasan, and along with Smita Nasan. So agenda for the session is like we will have the overview of Microsoft Azure Cognitive Services, and then we will go deeper into exploring at least three major services: computer vision API, through which we'll be able to analyze various celebrities or landmarks, and then again use that as a use case in our day-to-day life. And then again we will see how we will be able to use the custom vision service, through which we will be able to create our own models, train those models, and then we will be able to use them in our business kind of scenarios. And then we will also touch upon the sentiment analysis API, wherein we will cover how to find out the sentiment from the sentences which are probably stored into a SharePoint list, or maybe onto the Yammer, or even onto the Teams as in messages. So those are the things that we are going to cover. But before we start, a quick introduction. Myself, Nandadeep Najan. I'm Microsoft MVP for M365 Apps and Services, as well as Microsoft Certified Trainer. I'm based out of Pune, India. Again, I'm author of a couple of books on SharePoint framework, as well as SharePoint Hybrid with SharePoint 2019. And on to the right hand side, here are a few of the social media handlers to get in touch with me. And with me today is Smita.
Hello all, myself Smita Nasen and I am from Pune, India. So I am having a total 14 plus years of experience in Microsoft technologies and especially with Microsoft 365, including SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, Power Platform, Groups, Yammer, Forms, and Microsoft Viva. So I'm a Microsoft MVP for MC65 development category and I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer and I'm also author of one book on SharePoint Hybrid, which is published with A Plus Publisher. And these are my some of the social handlers by which you can get in touch with me. So, firstly, to start with, what is mean by AI? So, AI is all about amplifying the human creativity with the intelligent technology. So, whenever we deal with any kind of data around us, it is an imperfect data. So we can learn and we can form the conclusions from that imperfect data using some kind of reasoning. And then we can use that reasoning to understand that data better, including text, voice, or images. And then we can start interacting with that data in some natural ways. So this is what is mean by AI. Just give me a second. Let me change the headset. So, whenever we talk with or whenever we try to define that with Microsoft Cognitive Services, it gives us a wild opportunity for us to implement the AI. So the first one is the vision, wherein we can understand the images and videos better. Then we have a speech from where we can recognize the speech, speaker, and the content or the intent of that particular speech. Then we have a language wherein we can process the text and recognize what user want to say. Then we have a knowledge. So it is again a rich knowledge from the web that you can use with your own data and then search across all these kind of things. And then again in the preview feature, we have few of the things which you want to use before the general availability of that particular feature. So for this session, we will majorly concentrate on the vision APIs. So what vision is mean by from faces to feelings, it allows your apps to understand the images and videos better. So if we deep dive into the vision, there are many things which vision can do. So the first one is the computer visions, then we have a face API, emotions API, content moderator, custom vision service, and a video indexer. So each of them by name defines like what do they do. So during this session, we will mostly concentrate upon the computer vision APIs and the custom vision service. Those are helpful to analyze our image in some better relatives. So to start with, what is mean by a computer vision API? So it analyzes the image, understand the content within that particular image. So even we can use the OCR, optical character recognition, to detect and recognize the words within that particular image. Even we can generate the thumbnails by scaling or the images while retaining the key content inside that particular image. And then again, one beautiful thing of this is using this computer vision API, we can easily recognize the celebrities or even few of the landmarks which are already trained by Microsoft for this computer vision API. So here is the quick one of the example how it works. So whenever we try to analyze an image, so there is one image you can see over here. So this is the image for a Taj Mahal, which is a famous landmark in India. So whenever we try to give this kind of an image to this computer vision API, it can also give us the few of the categories describing like it is a pretty much sure that it is you can see in the categories it is pretty much sure that the name is the building and it is showing the confidence scores and in the details also saying that it is a landmark and the name of the landmark is a Taj Mahal. Also it is providing a confidence scores. Again it is showing some of the tags like where it is exactly it is outdoor and everything. So this is about this details theory part, but now we can go and we can just create a computer vision API. So let's see how we can create our own computer vision API, how we can provide the images to it, and then how it able to analyze those images. So for that purpose, let me go to the Azure portal. So once we are to the Azure portal, you have to click on a create a resource under AI plus machine learning, and then we will see all those AI kind of functionality which are given by Microsoft Azure. Let it load, it is taking us time. But you have to click this AI plus machine learning, so it will give you all the list. And after that, we have to select the computer vision. So till the time it is loading, I will just quickly explain you. So once you, okay, now it's almost there. Yeah, so you have to go to this AI plus machine learning and then computer vision once it load. Yes, so from here we can click on the computer vision. So it will take us to the window wherein we can create a new computer vision. So here we just have to, once it is open, we have to just specify name for that particular computer vision. Then you have to select the subscription and then the location. So while selecting the location, I prefer to use the central US because it is the very much old data center that we have, and it has got very much good freeway features available. So if you want to use those, then prefer to go to the central US, and then you can go ahead. Once it is done, then you can just go ahead with the pricing. Yeah, so let me click on this pricing, view the pricing details. Okay, and over here it explains like what kind of functionalities are available to you. So once you click over there, so when you choose that particular pricing tier, so for example, if you can choose a free instance, in that case you are allowed to have a 20 transaction per minute, but the features are not that much on the other hand. And if you go ahead with some kind of an paid transactions like S1, then you can have about 10 transactions per second, and it will help you to get the features of like tag face, thumbnails, color, and other things like that. If you go ahead for few of the more features, then obviously the price will increase, but you will get some more number of features to use. So I will not spend the time here to create a new computer vision API, but I will rather use the one which I have already created. So once you fill all that particular form, you will be here. So let me go over here. So you'll be here to do the service or the resources that has got created. So this is how it looks like. Then we have a something called as API console, and once you clicked on this particular API console from here, you will able to test out this particular computer vision. So in a nutshell, it does not contain much of the thing, just that a few of the API or few of the predefined or pre-executed intelligence being offered by Microsoft to Azure to analyze our images much better. So once we are here to the console, then the next thing is that we should select our region under which we want to select or test our images. So here I have created my cognitive services under the region of Central US. So I will go here and select the Central US. And once we are here, then the next thing is we will have to provide the name or the resource which we want to test against. So this is my resource name which I want to test again. So there are various visual features which you can test. So apart from brands, categories, colors, and other things. So let's say you want to test out the tags because tags will return you out the most of the tags which are associated for that particular image. Then in the details we have two things to test. First one is the celebrity, and the next one is the landmark. So let's go ahead and select the celebrity, and the content type is a application JSON because we want to return or we want to get the output in the form of the JSON. So the next thing is that we need to provide the key, so by which we will able to authenticate against this API and get the result. So for that I will go to that key and endpoints, and let me select that key and I will paste it over here. So now that we are ready, so if you want to pass on few of the additional headers, it can be done also from there. So the next thing is we need to compose the request body. So that means we can directly provide the image itself, otherwise we can provide a URL of the image. So in this case we are going ahead with the URL of the image, and for that I have already this image with me, and let me open this image. And I don't need to explain who is he, as we all know he's a very famous personality. So let's see who is he, and let's click on this send button so that we will get the response from it. Just a moment, let me quickly try it again. Okay, till the time it is loading, let me explain you. So once we do it, then it is sending a response. And for example, if it's the response is 200, that means the response is successful. Then it will identify that celebrity and it will provide a confidence scores also for that. Okay, I need to click analyze image. Yeah, so the location is the English US, so analyze image, and this East US. Let me quickly do it once again. I will select the tags and celebrities. Let us take the key and endpoint from here, and let us provide a URL. Now you can see the response is 200, that means okay. And also this response latency is also there. And if you go down, then you can see in the categories and the tags are mentioned over there. Okay, it is saying that it is a celebrity, which is a Bill Gates, and also it is saying the confidence code. It is showing the face as a rectangle. Then other tags are also available over here, so you can see all the details. It is showing the tags as a human face. It has some of the clothing, smile, chin, forehead, everything is there. So this is what is exactly this out of the box that is provided from Microsoft. So let's do the same thing in a SharePoint. So for that purpose, what we have done is we have created one list, and in the list what we will do, we will just upload one image, and in the background we have one flow. So one flow is running, and whenever we will upload image, then what will happen, that flow will run in the background. It will analyze that image, and then it will process that image, and it will send us all the details back. So now we have added that image, and now let me go to this flow. The flow is already created over here to save our time. Let it open. So on a higher level, whenever any of the file is being added to my SharePoint folder, then I'm giving a call to analyze this image API for the computer vision, and then I'm getting the information for the path where it has been uploaded. And once I get it, I'm again sending a request to my SharePoint, and then passing that particular JSON which I got from Cognitive API, and then updating the file properties with those. So we saw like there are the multiple tags also which are being written by the Cognitive Services Vision API. So also it is possible to join them by a comma, and then you can add it back to your SharePoint list. So now let's see the status of the flow that we have already added. Oh, okay, it is saying that succeed. Let it open. So now once we open it, it will show us that what is the image we have passed in that document library and what are the tags associated with it. So let me go to the directly to the compose, and over here you can see all the details. So now over here you can see the image which we have added. Yeah, so let me open that image for you once again. So we have added actually the image for the London Eye, and over here you can see whatever the tags it is mentioned over here. It is a tourist attraction, and also it is mentioned all these confidence scores also. So this way what you can do is you can just take all of these tags and then again you can just upload it back to your SharePoint list. So this way how this computer vision works.
All right. So at least now that what we will do is we will see how we'll be able to use the custom vision API. But before that, here are few of those references if in case you want to go ahead learn more about Azure Cognitive Services. So we have some documentation links available here. Okay. So now that let's see for example, if you want to go ahead and use the custom vision service or custom vision APIs, how we can do that. So why we should go for the custom vision service, because let's say Microsoft has already given the capabilities inside the vision API, so that once you create the computer vision API, it will give you some kind of an default um, options available to you to analyze the common set of objects or maybe common set of scenarios. But if like the one that we see, that we were able to recognize few of the celebrities, at the same time we were able to recognize few of the landmarks as well. But whenever we want to customize this kind of an behavior, we want to create our own models. So let's say for example we are working onto an industry wherein we are working with various ball bearings or any of the other machineries, and probably there will be few areas wherein human will not be able to enter. So at that time we can use this custom vision service to train maybe our robots or maybe any of our machines to go into that areas and then find out what kind of an objects that we have over there, and then just analyze those kind of an objects. So for those, since those are our custom kind of an objects which maybe our company or our factory is producing, in that case we need to go ahead and create our own custom vision service. So obviously means at least for today's demo we don't have anything available from factory, but at least we will show you like how to start practicing this custom vision service, how to get started using this. So it is nothing but a customizable web service that learns and recognize specific content from your image. So again, this custom vision service is already using the base of computer vision API, which is already trained by Microsoft. But again, on top of that, you can go ahead, create your own models. You can train those models and then use those models in your day-to-day business, or to analyze all of the objects. So this particular process has been set up into four major steps. So first step is to upload the images. So just upload all of your images which are pertaining to your specific use case. So in that case, maybe a ball bearing, a screw, or anything that maybe your company or maybe your factory is producing, so that by looking at that object, we will be able to recognize which kind of an object that is. So at least in today's demo, we are going to keep it pretty simple by identifying two types of fruits, apple and orange, because always we compare the apple versus the oranges. Okay, so we will be going to upload various images of our own object, and then what we do is whenever we upload those images, we will tag those images so that the model that we are trying to create, it will get the idea that whenever it sees something of a sort which is uploaded on that image, it can detect that as apple or orange or any of the thing that you want that particular custom vision service to call that part. So once we do that, once we upload all of our images, once we tag the images with the specific need, we should go ahead and then train our custom model. So by providing that training, we are just making aware our model that whenever it sees something of this sort, In that case, it is maybe object A. If it sees something of some other behavior, in that case probably it is object B. So based on the images that we have uploaded, based on the tags that we have provided to those images, we can go ahead and then use that as a training model to create our custom model to evaluate. So then the third stage is to evaluate. So once we have our model created, before deploying that model or before using that model, obviously we should go ahead, carry out some kind of an use cases on top of it, carry out some kind of a testing on top of it, and then we should publish those iterations to use for our production use. So again, means when we will do the first training, probably we will have few of the images, or even we might have few of the faults. So in that case, what can happen is like whenever we will keep adding more and more images of maybe corner cases or to train our model better, we will go ahead and then we will try creating our further enhanced publications, and then we will use them to evaluate one more time. Once we are happy with our evaluation, obviously it is a time to go ahead and make use of all those models that we have trained into the production use. So these are the four steps in general that we will always use for creating our custom vision service or maybe custom vision APIs. So firstly, identify your images, upload those images with a specific tag. Once you're happy with uploading the images, then you should go ahead, train the model. Once the model is trained, go ahead, evaluate that model. Once you are happy with the evaluation, go ahead and use the custom vision service, okay, or the model from that custom vision service. So at least these are the four steps, and then right now we are just going to walk through each of these steps and going to use that model in our production use. All right. So again, like what is mean by custom vision API is like simply it is already trained by Microsoft as like the computer vision API. But here we do get some more capability through which we'll be able to train the custom vision service to recognize some kind of an customized objects or some kind of an customized scenarios. So again, this one is pretty much simple thing. Upload all of your images, label those images as you upload them, train the model so that it will be able to analyze all those objects, and then simply go ahead and evaluate that by using some kind of a simple REST API calls, and then see like how your model is behaving. And once you are pretty much confident with your model, go ahead and use that. All right, so let us see how we'll be able to do that. So the step number one here is building a classifier. So classifier is nothing but maybe a project. So it is the project or it is the model that we are trying to create. So whenever we will build our classifier, first thing is that we need to create one project in the custom vision service, and then the next thing is that we need to select a domain. So because whenever we want to classify any of the thing, we just need to specify under which domain that particular thing belongs to. So it could be a food domain, it could be any of the custom object, or maybe it could be just some kind of an objects that we want to identify specifically. So we just need to select that domain first. Once we are done with that, we should go ahead and add multiple or various images that you want to make use of for training your model. And as we will keep adding those images, we will also tag them. Again, specifically we will tag the area where we think that object is present. And then once it is done, we will go ahead, train the classifier, and then we will evaluate that classifier. All right, so what I will do is there are various steps that we have seen. So as along we are covering the theory, I will go ahead and show you the practical. All right, so for that, firstly, let me just go to the um, Azure portal. So here, whenever you want to create any of the custom vision API, just in the search box, even you can type custom vision, and then you should be able to get the custom vision service from here. Okay, so it's taking some time, but all right. So Once we do that, at least you should be able to see all those options here. So just select the custom vision, and from there you should be able to directly go ahead and start creating your first custom vision resource inside Microsoft Azure. So as like the other services we have got, it is the similar thing which is available under cognitive services. We just need to specify the name. So let's say, for example, if I go ahead and try to create a new one, so we just have to specify a name there for our custom vision service. And while we create that, we get at least options for creation. So first one is, do we need to just use it for a prediction purpose or just for the training purpose or for both? So based on what kind of a scenario you want to cover with this, go ahead and make that selection. You can again select your subscription, the resource group, the region, name your custom vision service. Again, this one has to be a unique all across the world, so that Azure can go ahead and identify your custom vision by looking at that name. The next thing is that we'll have to go ahead and select the pricing tier. Again, if you go into the pricing details, based on whether you're using the free tier or maybe a standard S0, S1 kind of an tier, you will get more options as well as more functionality to work with. So once you are happy with that, go ahead, select your pricing tier, and then simply it will create your service. So what we will do is probably, instead of creating that, we will go ahead and use the one which we already have created here. So for that, let me just close out the other things which we don't need, and let me just open up the prediction one. Okay, so while creating this particular service, I chose both the options, that I want to create the service for prediction as well as for training. So I will just open up the prediction one, which is the one which will be deploy onto the production to analyze all those images after the training. So again, here we will have same kind of an overview section where it will give us the name of that particular service, and then we'll be able to see where it has been deployed. But the only thing which is different here is that here we don't have directly API console kind of a thing to go ahead and test out that particular custom vision API. But here we need to go ahead and create our own classifier. Okay, so this is the screen, the overview screen, where it will show the basic information about the resource group, where it is getting created, the status of it, and the other things. So here we have got this custom vision portal, which is a bit outside of the Azure portal, which is located at www.customvision.ai. So this um, diagram explains like what we just have covered, like just upload the images, train your model, evaluate, and start using that. So I will just quickly sign in here, and once we sign in, we will be able to get the option to create the project or create a specifier here. So all of the projects that you already have created will start appearing here. So this is a project that we are going to use. But if you want to create a new project, you can just click on new project here, and here you can just name your project. So again, if you want, you can optionally give any kind of a description. Under the resource group, it will go ahead and automatically detect under your all of the subscription that you have, which are the custom cognitive services that you have created, and it will list out all of those. So just select the one onto which you want to go ahead and start creating that project. And then again, this project has got two types: classification and object detection. So that means um, the image classification tags as a whole for the image, or maybe a object detection which will find the location of the content within the image that you have uploaded. So based on what you want to do, go ahead and select the classification or a object detection. And then we do have classification type as well. So for example, multi-label, that means it can have multiple tags per image. So let's say, for example, one image can have multiple objects, which is maybe a live kind of a scenario wherein if you take a picture of maybe of your factory, there you will be able to see multiple objects, and then you can simply go ahead and then apply those multiple labels for your image. So maybe once you take a picture of your factory, maybe you can notice there are few ball bearings available onto the floor, or maybe screws, so you can just tag each of them, and then you will be able to see those. So this is called as multi-label. The other thing, other classification type we have available is multi-class. So that means we can have a single tag per image. So that means we can just have only image wherein only one object is present. We can go ahead, tag that, and use it. Then these are the domains which are available. For example, general, food, landmark, retail. So these are kind of an customized domains. So based on the lighting conditions of your photo, or maybe the pre-trained model that is being used for this domain. So let's say, for example, if you want to go ahead and use it for food, so whenever we take a picture of food, maybe at a restaurant, we have some kind of an ambience, lighting, all those factor. So this particular project, or this domain kind of a project, are trained to process all those kind of a thing, and then give you the better result. So based on which kind of a domain you are working with, go ahead and select that. All right, so with that, we have the first thing, which is a classifier, which is also called as a model, and which is your project in the custom vision service. All right, so we already have one project created. So these are the domains that we just have seen, so you can just go ahead and create the domain, maybe a food, landmark, retail, or if you are not sure of which one to go ahead, just select the general one. Okay, and again, we do have A1, A2, which are again few of the customized kind of a domains which are available. All right, so let me just again go back and open up the project that we have it created. So this is the project wherein we are just using the object detection kind of an technology, or the option. And then what we do here is that we just go ahead, upload the images, and then use it for training our model. So in this model, at least I have around 31 apple images uploaded, and then around 36 oranges image uploaded. So whenever you will upload all the images, just make sure that you are picking up the real world kind of a scenario. So let's say, for example, if I just talk about a fruit, then probably we will not see the fruit onto the white surface in a real life, but probably we can see it somewhere lying on the table, or maybe into any of the dishes. So we can just go ahead and add those realistic kind of an images. So now that, let's say, for example, once you have created this model, you want to go ahead and add few images, you can just simply click on add images here, and from here you'll be able to add more images. So let me just go ahead and upload image. So this is the apple image that I just want to go ahead and upload. So you can see here that as I go ahead, select this particular image to upload, this image will get uploaded, and then it will ask us to tag all of the items that we see here, right? So let us wait until that image comes up here. Okay, right. So now that what I have to do is, this will automatically give the dotted etching marching ants kind of a thing, through which I can just select, and I can select that particular region and mark it as a apple or orange. So these are the custom tags that we are creating, and then I can keep doing that. So this is kind of a multi-label kind of a scenario wherein in one image we can have multiple things available. So I can just go ahead, keep adding those as and when we want. So this one will just give the real life kind of a scenario where those images are, right? So I will just go ahead, keep adding, and once we are happy with that, we can just go ahead and then close this out, so that we are pretty much happy with all of the selection, and then we can just go ahead and upload that. So similarly, we can go ahead, add few of the more images, but just to give you the idea, like this is how it happens. The next thing is that whenever we have uploaded all of the images, we should always go ahead and train our model. So for that, I can just simply click on train, and then we have two types of trainings available. First one is a quick training, which can be basically done in less than 1 hour. For example, if you go into the advanced training, then again in that case, it might take up to 96 hours as well, but this one will obviously give you better results. But just for the demonstration purpose, I will go ahead and use the quick training. So I will just go ahead and click on train, so that based on the images that we have uploaded, based on the tags that we have applied to those images, it will go ahead and train our model to analyze all those kind of an images. And as it is doing, onto the left hand side also you can see that we have few of the iterations going on. So that means we can have the first iteration by uploading minimal kind of an images, and then whenever we want to make our model better, we can keep uploading other images as well, keep them tagging, and then we can come up with the more iterations. So while this one is being trained, I will just open up the iteration number 3. So here we do have few concepts of precision, recall. So we will just see like what is meant by that. So these are all of those iterations. So whenever you will carry out the training, obviously it will go ahead and create the iteration for you. Okay, so let us come to this precision and recall. So precision is mean by if a tag is predicted by your model, then how likely is that going to be a right? So that is being called as precision. And the recall, that means out of the tags which should be predicted correctly, what percentage did your model correctly find? So that is mean by recall. So just to take this into the real world kind of scenarios. So let's say I have uploaded images of apple, 3 images of oranges to my model, which we just saw. And then once the training is completed, I will upload, give it a test set of 4 images, out of which 2 are apple and 4 are oranges. But now that this particular model has identified all of those as oranges, so in this case the precision will be 50%, because at least 2 out of the 4 images being predicted correctly. On the other hand, recall will be 67%. That means 2 out of 3 oranges were predicted correctly. All right. So then the next thing is, before we go ahead and start using that, we should obviously test out our model. So to do that, what we can do is, at least I will just go ahead and use this iteration 2 itself, which is the published one. Again, if you want to uh, go ahead and use the current iteration, just select that iteration, click on publish, and then that iteration will be used for your next testing. So while this iteration is still running, we can go ahead and do the quick testing. So click here, and then either you will be able to specify the image URL, or you will be able to browse the local files as well. So I will just go ahead and add maybe this image which contains lots of apples. So what it will do is it will apply the iteration 2, and then you can see that it has started marking few of the circles, squares. And then once you go there, it will start analyzing the images, and then in that image, wherever it has found the apples, it will go ahead and select those. So let's say for example we do it for the image which contains both. And again, for example, if the prediction fails, obviously go ahead, add more kind of an images to it, and then it will help you to make better your model. So now that this one is identified that this is apple with 99.7 percent, and then this one is the orange with 99.9% of the probability, right? So this is how it works. So you can go ahead, test your model, and then let's see like how we'll be able to use that. So again, for example, if you want, you can go ahead and probably build the flows. So in this case, again, you can store all of those images into your document library, and then maybe create a flow, and in that flow you can again use the custom vision model to just go ahead analyze the uploaded image, and then you can do the prediction. So let me just open up the flow and show it to you. Probably will not run it, but at least I will just show you how to go ahead and use that for SharePoint, because SharePoint is the place where we keep adding most of our content, maybe in the form of images. And once everyone uploads the images there, probably we just want to go ahead and analyze what kind of an image that is. So whenever the file is being uploaded into a folder in a SharePoint, we can just go ahead and apply the image detection on top of it. So this is a project ID that we'll be able to get from the project properties of the project that we have created. And in the publish name, we just specify which iteration we want to use out of the published iterations. So since we had this iteration 2 published, I can just simply go ahead and name it iteration 2, and we can simply pass on the content of the image which we want to analyze, and it can give us the same kind of a result. So probably I will not just run this because it will do the same thing in the background, but we will just move to the next part of sentiment analysis. But yeah, before that, here are a few of the quick references to go ahead and start using the Azure Custom Vision APIs. All right.
So now we are coming to the last part of our session for the text analysis. So what is mean by the text analysis? So we generally deal with some kind of text, like for example, this session was good, session was not good. So we have some kind of sentiment associated with our wordings, and this text analysis will help us to identify the positive or negative kind of sentiments from that particular statement which we are passing on. So, the sentiment analysis is the process of detecting whether a piece of writing is positive, negative, or a neutral. So, whenever we ask for any kind of feedback, maybe even after the session, when I will ask you for your feedback, you will have maybe a positive, negative, or a neutral kind of a feedback. So, in a circumstances, I don't have maybe a chance to go through each of your feedback. So, what I will do is I will just upload those feedback back to my sentiment analysis API, and then it will directly give me like what is the sentiment that you people had after this session. So this is the machine learning driven text mining, and it returns the numeric score between 0 to 1. So 0 that means the negative, and 1 that means the positive. So let's have a look of the demo of this text analysis. So again for that, I will go back to my Azure portal, and then once I'm in Azure portal, then I will go to create a resource, and the same way like we have done AI plus machine learning, and from here we can just have this text analysis, sentiment analysis. Okay, so once you click, it will give you a form wherein you can just define your service to be created. So just name the service, then again you have to select the subscription, select the location, and again for the pricing tier, this again the varies from free to paid one. So free has again got so many features like the sentiment analysis and other things, but as you go for more detailed level kind of an analysis, the paid service will definitely help you to get those more information, or again based on the number of transactions that you want to make, or based on the number of features that you want to utilize, you have to just select the better instance or the better pricing tier for your application. And then the last thing is that we will have to specify the resource group, and the resource will get created. So again, this is how that particular resource look like. If I go to that resource group, so there is one resource group which we have already created for this text analysis. Yeah, and again here I can again go back to the API console. It is the same thing. So let me go back to the overview again in this resource group. So this is the particular resource has been created in the the East US location. So we will have to again select the East US part from there, And the same thing like we have done for the computer vision API. So we will have to specify the name, and then we will have to specify the key, and from the request body we will provide, and it will help us to detect whether it is a positive response, negative response, or whether it is a neutral response. So I will not run through this because this is the same as we did for the computer vision, but rather I will go back to my SharePoint site where I can add some text. So for that purpose, we have already created one SharePoint list. It is a text analysis. So to get some kind of an feedback, you can say. So let's say once this list is open, I will create a new item here. And over here you can see that, for example, here is the title, and apart from that we have added the extra columns like the sentiment and the confidence scores also, and how to update that we will show you. So let me quickly add one new item. And once I've add the item, then we have one Power Automate running in the background. So let me add any feedback over here or any text to analyze, and once it is saved, then we will go to the Power Automate to check how it exactly works. So again, this is a really very simple Power Automate flow. Let me open it and edit it. So I will show you what we are doing it in that flow. So whenever a new item is gets created into my SharePoint list, we are again making a call to the text analysis API in Azure. And then we are making a call to the text analysis API in Azure, and then we are getting the feedback, or we are just passing in the feedback which was given, and then we are getting the response from this sentiment analysis. So over here you can see we have created some of these variables to get the data to set the, and again we are setting that variables over here, and then we are just updating the item over here. You can see we have created a SharePoint list. In the SharePoint list we have added all the columns, and using that variable we are updating that columns. So once this flow will run, it will give us the result. So now if we go back to that flow and check the status of that flow, if it's run or not. So once we get that particular response back, we are adding that particular sentiment score back to our SharePoint item, so that we can identify whether it is a positive, negative, or a neutral kind of statement. So let me check the result in SharePoint list also. So now over here you can see this is the item we have added, and then as per this statement we have added over here, or we can say the wording, it is saying that sentiment as a negative, and then it is showing the confidence score for the positive, how much positive it thinks, then how much negative, and how much the neutral. So this is how we can analyze the text being given by your, maybe from a customer, maybe any product review. So from those we can easily identify like whether it is a kind of positive feedback, positive statements, the negative one, or the neutral one. So this is how this machine learning algorithm will help you to carry out this text analysis. So again, I have a few of the reference here, which I will encourage you to go through. And if you want to use it in your application, so we are done for this session. Thank you so much. So if you have any queries, then please feel free to ask us.
Great. Thank you both very much. It was a great session, great information. So I'm just like looking here to see if there's anything posted in chat in YouTube or any of the streams. I'm not seeing anything right now, but I'm sure that if anybody has any questions, they can certainly reach out to you and find you on social media. So thank you very much for your time today, and
Yeah,
appreciate everybody's attendance. And
Yeah, thank you.
stay tuned for the next session.
yeah. Thank you very much for having us. If there are any questions after the session, please feel free to get in touch with us. And thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to present the session. Thank you and see you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye. Take care.
Great.